Okay, now that we had our fun, got all our shakes out, we're ready for the panel discussion. So we're going to invite panelist number 1 up to the stage, Mayor Lindo Lynn, Mayor of the town of Innisfil. You gotta be quiet during the panel. Okay, next we'd like to invite MPP Andrea Kangin, Ontario's newly appointed Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, and the Member of Provincial Parliament for Barrie Innisfil. panelist is retired Colonel Nikisha Jardin, Veterans Bud Colonel, served almost 37 years as an officer in the Corps of Royal Canadian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. Panelist number 4 is Deputy Chief of Police Cheryl Sutton of South Simcoe Police Services. Okay, next up we have Dr. Claudine Cousins, Chief Executive Officer of Empower Simcoe, a human services organization in the broader health sector. And last but not least, we have Christy Fines, Managing Partner of 400 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Barrie Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, two sibling dealerships located in Innisfil and Barrie, respectively. So we'll welcome Sue back up to the stage to moderate the panel. Round of applause for Sue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next segment of today's event, She-Roes Gala 2024, brought to you by the Innisfil Indian Association in partnership with the town of Innisfil, powered by 400 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and gold sponsor Shivam Gulati, Century 21 Realtor. Welcome, everyone. I am Sue, and it's truly an honor today to be able to moderate for this empowering discussion. And I have these amazingly beautiful and gorgeous ladies here with me who need no introduction. But to set the context moving, from my left is MPP Andrea Kanjan, MPP Barry Innisfil. We have Colonel Nishika Jardin, veteran Ombud. Mayor Lynn Donlan, Mayor Town of Innisfil. Deputy Chief of South Simcoe Police, Cheryl Sutton. Dr. Claudine Cousins, CEO, Empire Simcoe. And finally, we have Christy Fines, Managing Partner of 400 Chrysler and Barry Chrysler. So moving on to the theme of our discussion today is redefining success, empowering women to be unstoppable in their own definitions. In a world that is constantly evolving, the term She-Ro has emerged as a powerful and inclusive way to recognize and celebrate the extraordinary women who shape our communities and break barriers every day. But did you know that the term She-Ro was coined long back in 1932, but we are using it more commonly right now? Now, concept of She-Ro is not about traditional heroism. It is also embodies the everyday lives of these women, embodying resilience, courage, and steadfast determination to create a lasting influence on each other. So moving on with this conversation, I would like to start with Mayor Lynn Dolan. As a She-Ro, what do you believe is your ultimate superpower, summed up in a single line?
Thank you for the question. I would say compassion. You can't fake compassion if you don't have it. And I think it helps, particularly in the job that I do, that you have to be able to show compassion to people and in order to really understand how they feel and also to be able to help them.
That's a wonderful superpower, having compassion. Moving on to Deputy Chief Sutton, I would like to ask you the same question. What is your ultimate superpower?
Thank you very much for the question. I'm going to say that my superpower is supporting others. I think as a community, if we're not supporting each other, then what are we here for? The community is just the sum of all of its parts, and in order for us to succeed, then we need to support each and every one of us.
Very well said. Dr. Cousins, we would like to know your superpower as well.
Sure. My superpower is a little different. So my superpower is being comfortable in my own skin. Because, if you're comfortable in your own skin, you can leverage all of the other superpowers. Mic drop.
Whoa! That was amazing. Christy, we would love to know your superpower.
So I think the one that comes to mind right now that's probably most, top of mind for me would be resiliency. And I think about that as a community and everything we go through together, that we have to be resilient. I think of that in terms of business. Business goes up and down, we need to be resilient. And I think in terms of people, with all the obstacles that are thrown at us, we need to be resilient.
Wow. MP Pikanjian, what are your superpowers?
Well, it was a tough question because I was like battling between two different words, but ultimately I landed on community, simply because I wouldn't be here without community, and I can't do the duties that I do every day without community. And I think that having that groundedness and that sense of community every day, that sense of belonging that is the community I represent, really helps me continue to do my job every day and is a great motivator.
Amazing. Colin Nishika.
When I was a young officer, the thing that I learned was that the most important resource we had in the Canadian Armed Forces, which is where I had my career, is people. And you can't work with people if you don't have compassion and empathy for them. And so that has been the hallmark of my service, I believe, is my compassion and empathy for people. So I'll call that my superpower.
Amazing. We have a great list of superpowers here. But here I would like to take a pause for this panel discussion, and I'll shift the focus for a moment into the She-Roes who are in the audience. And I would like to ask if anyone wants to share any of your superpowers.
Looking at you, Donna. You have lots of power.
Come on. We have lots of superpowers here.
I haven't used a mic before, so forgive me. Okay, I think that my superpower is getting out of my head. I don't know, I've learned over the last couple of years that a lot of people spend a lot of time being afraid and, taking risks and doing things. And since the pandemic, I have changed my outlook on life, and I realized that it's short, and I have been coming out of my shell and doing a whole lot of things that I am very uncomfortable with, including this moment right here. So,
Cool. Okay, so you have a $25 coupon card from Domino's. Congratulations. Can we have your name, please? Okay, congratulations. Anybody else wants to share? One last chance.
Thank you. My superpower is love. Love for God, love for my family. I couldn't do anything without them. And also courage. The courage to walk a path that others don't. And sometimes as women, it's very hard to take a step without those superpowers of love behind you.
Amazing. Thank you, Krista. So Krista has won a $25 coupon card from Bloom Bistro. Congratulations. Okay, moving back to our panel discussion. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My superpower is I use my voice when other women can't. I live by the mantra, we rise by lifting each other.
Amazing. Okay, moving on to our discussion here, I would like to continue and ask MP Pikanjian. Your accolades are so impressive. As the newly appointed Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, along with your role as the Member of Provincial Parliament for Barrie-Innisfil, you have achieved significant milestones. Notably, you hold the distinction of being the first female, progressive, conservative Jewish cabinet minister in the history of Ontario. Furthermore, your tenure as the longest-serving Deputy Government House Leader for the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario since 2019 speaks volumes. Additionally, you have contributed as the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs and Deputy Government Whip. I would like to ask you, among all these roles, which one would you consider to be the epitome of success for you?
Being a mom. It's not on there. But I think it's taught me the most. I mean, no degree or work experience could teach you the skills that I've learned through being a mom. I think it's prepared me to be a better community representative and to help me fight for more policies. So definitely a mom.
That was amazing. Okay, Dr. Cousins, I would like to ask you, your dedication to serving as a catalyst for positive change within the community is commendable. By actively supporting women's empowerment and advocating for local equity, diversity, and inclusion, you exemplify a profound commitment to societal advancement. How do you envision this alignment with your personal definition of success?
That's a great question. I've always been someone who recognized that just because something is hard, and just because I may seem to be the only one who's pushing or trying, doesn't mean that I shouldn't do it. So I've always been fighting for those who, as we heard back here, those who are marginalized, whose voices aren't heard, who is left behind. That has always been part of who I am. You know, my parents tell me stories about the things that I've done that make me cringe. And I'm saying, how did you let me get away with that? And I realized it was the start of me being an advocate, even when I was small in a big family of 11 and bossing my brothers and sisters around because I was going to be the one to tell them what needs to be done. So, you know, I continue to do this because I believe that the society that we're in can only be better if we're all given an opportunity to be our very best selves. And by advocating for women, especially and young girls, we know that they will build up a community. They will be the ones pulling up the rest of the community along with, you know, all of our men. We love you, we do. We absolutely do. But the women will definitely be pulling up the community. So for me, it makes it so much more important for me to be out there lending my voice wherever I can to this very important part of our society and our community any way I can. So that's how I see myself that. I see it, I do it, and I feel that if I don't do this, that I'm letting myself down.
Thank you. Christy, you have dedicated considerable time in charity work. Have your extensive philanthropic efforts in any way shaped your present interpretation of success?
So it's interesting. So I've won a lot of automotive awards for retail operations and all of that, but those awards don't mean as much to me as the ones that are related to community work, because we are all of my staff, we all live in this community, right? And to me, it's super important that we give back to the community that's good to us. So for me, nothing means more to me, than when someone comes into one of my dealerships and says, hey, I met you at this event, or I saw you here, or, this morning I met with a client who said, it's so super important to me that we support your business because, you donated to this initiative that we were a part of. And to me, we're all a part of this community. So as a business, if we can give back, and not just, in monetary ways, but our time and volunteering and supporting people, because at some point, many of us may need the same support. So if we can give now, I think that's what makes us successful. So when we win awards for community work and charity, and we spend the time doing it, it's so much more rewarding than the stuff we do in business. That's just part of it.
Thank you, Christy. These were nice, different perspectives to know. We have MPP Kanjin talking about being a mom, where we don't get any degree and you have to be on the war ground. Yeah. and Dr. Cousins, who talked about how empowering our community girls, our community women, is what success means to her, and Christy, who's been into charity work and giving back to the community. Thank you. I would move on to Deputy Chief Sutton. You were appointed to the position of Deputy Chief in April 23, following your initial role as a constable in the police force. Progressing through the ranks to sergeant, staff sergeant, and inspector, you eventually attained the position of Deputy Chief. Throughout your 35-year career in law enforcement, did you ever encounter any challenges stemming from societal expectations for success for women? And if so, how did you navigate and address these challenges?
Thank you for the question. Again, as I have 35 years in career, I started my policing career in the 80s down with Toronto Police. And women were sort of new to the field of policing at that time. They'd probably less than a dozen years women had been in policing. So I was fortunate in my career that, there's always those struggles and hurdles, but I was fortunate in my career that I did have support of a lot of good leaders that believed in me and believed in what I was doing. So I was fortunate in that for my career, and I hope that as I have progressed through the ranks, and I am blessed and very fortunate to be in the position that I'm at, that I'm able to provide that guidance and leadership to others that may be struggling in not just this profession, but in other professions, and to show everybody that, if you work really hard, and it's not been easy for me, I have to work hard for everything that I get, that you can be successful, and you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to surround yourself with people that believe in you and encourage you.
Thank you. Mayor Dolan, you have been actively involved in the town's political arena since your election as a councillor in 1994. Subsequently serving as deputy mayor in 2014, mayor in 2018 and 22, AMO president from 2016 to 2018, and deputy warden for the county of Simcoe from 2020 to 22. In your extensive tenure, have you observed a shift in the societal perceptions regarding the benchmark for success of women in politics since '94?
Oddly, no. When my first term of council, there were 5 women and 4 men on my council. Now, that wasn't normal in Ontario, and now I'm currently blessed to have a lot of strong females on council as well. So I would say that over the years, it has changed as far as the duties that you're responsible for. And I was fortunate enough to have a very, very strong mentor who believed in me as well. And I'm going to get choked up because when her picture came up there, Hazel McCallion was a huge mentor for me, and she was never more than a phone call away whenever I saw any difficulties. But what I have noticed a real shift in is there's the same number of women in politics, but back in the 90s, there would be a tendency for women to put other women down or not to support each other. And what I've really noticed lately is women supporting other women and helping each other out. I recently had a mayor from Moonbeam, Ontario, which is in very northern Ontario, reach out to me for some advice and mentorship, and I'm happy to do that. We have a mentorship program through AMO where we have youth fellows who many of them are women, and I've been blessed to be able to support 2 young women just out of university and in their municipal careers. So I would say that's the change, not as much as it's women pushing up other women instead of holding down other women.
That was good. Nishika, you have served almost 37 years as an officer in the Canadian Armed Forces. You were promoted to Colonel in 2014 and Deputy Commandant of the Canadian Forces College in 2015. You have served on the board of directors of multiple committees. How have societal perceptions of success for women in the armed forces evolved over the past 37 years? And what personal challenges did you face while you were redefining success in your terms?
Man, I struggled with this question. I joined the Canadian Forces in 1982, and at that time, women were not able to serve in all parts of the Canadian Forces. And I remember during my training, so early on, this senior major was in charge of us, and he was ranting up and down, and he says, "You will never make it in this Canadian Forces if you don't serve in an Army unit." And I guess that's the message he had given to people, but he hadn't, I don't think he noticed that there were 4 or 5 of us women in the class, and we could not serve with the Army back then. And I remember calling my mother, and you spoke about your parents, and so you reminded me of this. I called my mother and I said, "I don't know why I'm in this career, because I'm never going to make it past the rank of captain, because women can't serve in the Army." And she said, "You stay calm and carry on." She kind of kicked my butt and told me to just do my best and leave the rest. That was her words of wisdom to me that I sort of took. And sure enough, down the road, all trades were open to women. And I did, clearly make it past the rank of captain after 37 years. And so, I credit my mother for that. So how, the military is an amazing organization, and it's come a huge way since I joined in 1982, and particularly, I would say, for women. And I've left the military 4 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long already. And I see women advancing now to the very highest ranks in the Canadian Forces. And I don't think anybody today says, if you don't do this, you're never going to make it to there. So I've seen that, and I've benefited from the changes that have happened over the years systemically. For me, I don't know how to categorize my success, apart from that young man sitting right there, who is my 18-year-old son, and like you, being a mother, the most important thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Nishika. The one thing which we hear from all the 3 ladies is mentorship and camaraderie between different women, whether it's work, whether it's your family, whether it's your mom, like Nishika said. And that's what is one of the major driving factors. Our family, the women we know at workplace, the women we know in our house. Thank you. Now, talking about success, they say that success is sweeter when it comes after multiple failures. And we cannot really talk about success without knowing what failures are. So on this note, I would like to ask Dr. Cousins, you have received numerous accolades for your achievements. However, have you ever faced a substantial setback that led you to a very low point? And what was your key factor that helped you navigate throughout the challenging period?
I've experienced a lot of setbacks, absolutely. One of the major setbacks, I would say, was getting divorced. Huge, major, big. My mom wouldn't talk to me for a long time. She's very, very religious. So, she is one that would be the societal definition of you need to stay married regardless of what's happening. The house could be burning down. You will stay in that house. Right, so that was a major setback for me, and having to raise my 2 children as a parent by myself, and the perception of, the single parent stigma that is following you around regardless of who you are and where you're going. And of course, being a Black woman, well, heaven forbid, that's even worse. The stigma sticks to you like you can't even get rid of it. So that was one of the darkest spots, I would say, that I've I went into, where I was thinking, do I continue to follow the path of society that says, as a single parent, which I don't consider myself, I'm a parent who's parenting singly. That's how I see myself. I'm not a single parent, because the way that I coped and the way that I manage, and I continue to do that, is through the people that I wrap around me. It's through what I call my tribe. And, regardless of whether you have a husband or a significant other or partner, it doesn't matter. You can't raise your children on your own. Believe me, you can't. And by surrounding myself with people, I was able to come back from that place where I was able to, refocus and think about what I want to do, how I'm going to do it, and pull myself up and say, this is only a setback. It's not going to stop me. I'm still going to achieve all the things I want to achieve. It's going to be harder, absolutely. However, with the help of parents, let me tell you, worth the weight in gold, good friends, your community, your church, all of the pieces that helps you, they're the ones that help to pull you up and help to hold you together when you're by yourself and need support. So that is how I made, the dark time a place where I could see really such brightness and able to raise two highly functioning, contributing members of our society now. So, absolutely.
That was really amazing support from my tribe. Moving over to Colonel Nishika. You have been honored with the 2023 Brilliant Women Achievement Award for your influence on the lives of your community. Can you recount a personal experience where you faced a significant challenge or fallback and how you managed to navigate through it?
I already told you about the one thing that I was faced with. Getting through Royal Military College was probably another one. I remember calling my mother within the first week, get me out of here. This is a crazy place. And again, she was... She's very steadfast, my mother. She's a real rock, and she just told me this is what you chose to do, now carry on, and, I did. I never realized how important my mother was to me. In fact, we fought constantly, and when I left home, I joined the Army because I wanted to get away from her, but she had such a huge influence on me in keeping me going when I was struggling with commitment, I guess, or feeling that I couldn't get through this hard thing. Apart from that, and if I could just sort of share my story with you, Dr. Cousins, you spoke about your family and your family situation, raising children singly. My experience is completely different. I never wanted children. I came very late to this whole idea of having a child. And when I finally met somebody that I wanted to have a child with, I was 42 when my son was born. And I was at the height, working, my career was starting to take off. I could not have had the career I had without my husband, who chose to stay home and raise our son. I was hardly home. And this lovely young man that we have is probably the direct result of my husband's hard work raising a child singly. Yeah, so I'll stop there. Gosh.
Thank you for that. Moving on to Deputy Chief Sutton. You have garnered multiple commendations for your exemplary work in law enforcement. Could you share a personal experience from your journey where you faced adversity and elaborate on how you overcame that challenging period?
Excuse me. Not so much in adversity, but, again, I have a 35-year career here, and there's been times in my career when you question, am I making a difference, right? Like, does it really matter what I'm doing? And you feel like you're just going through the motions, and you feel like you're really not making a difference, and how you just don't feel like what you're doing is enough. And then you get that one person in the community, and I'll never forget this, like 20 years ago, I had gone to a call for service, and it was a domestic type situation, and, go through the motions, deal with that call for service. And then again, it's just one of many that we have done. This woman, in a bad situation, and it was maybe a couple years later when I'm just sitting at the Tim Hortons here in Stroud, and this woman approaches me, and I had no idea who she was. I'm like, I just want to drink my coffee in peace. And she said to me, you may not know who I am, but you came to my house, and she said, and you provided me with this, I dealt with the situation. I provided her with some guidance and advice, and she said, you changed my life. I've left that, abusive relationship. I went back to school, and now I have this really good job. So for me, that's a reset. And again, that was 20 years ago, and I still remember that conversation. So every day you're not going to get that accolade, but once in 35 years is what keeps me going in this job. So.
Thank you. That was really inspiring. I will say that was really impactful. Impacting somebody's life in person, that is really rewarding. And sorry, Colonel Nishika, for making you cry with these questions. Okay. Christy Fines. As the managing partner at 400 Chrysler and Barry Chrysler, you have been acknowledged for your notable contributions to automotive leadership. In your capacity as a female leader, how do you believe you are advocating women to redefine traditional notions for success? And how do you think Chrysler, along with your personal endeavors, foster and champion this progressive mindset?
So, women in automotive, it is hard. There's no doubt about that. And it is rare. The last statistic that was given to me was less than 5% of car dealers in Canada are women. I know that I'm one of 3 in Ontario with Stellantis Chrysler FCA. And I'm so happy that I have a woman or multiple females in every department in our dealerships, including technicians, body shop technicians. To me, when, supporting women in automotive, like we have long hours, right? We're open late at night, every weekend. So I'm usually the first one to say, if someone's got to leave early to pick up their kids, or I'm a big believer in bringing our kids, like if you have to, like bring your kids to work. Like all of us, like most of us aren't, I'm not busy sometimes during the day, like leave your kids with me, like it'll be great. My daughter has been raised in a car dealership right from the infancy on, but it really becomes a family like that, right? Like I know she has referred to a few of my employees as, Uncle so-and-so, or because they've been impactful in her life. So I think we need to, with the hours we work and, encouraging even young, like, I go into the local high schools and go into the automotive classes, and I'm really encouraging females, in every aspect to get, like, it's an amazing industry. And we've got to change the stereotypes and make it easier for women, and supporting the automotive program at Georgian College. That's a huge one in Canada. And doing everything we can there to recruit. And I know right now in their automotive program, I think they've got 4 females currently enrolled, and I have 2 of them as co-op students. So if, for me, it's really important that they can make a great living, but also supporting them. And, if we've got to change the norm by, if you've got to leave to pick up your sick kid or something, all of us feel that pressure and feel the guilt of, we're running out of work or whatever it may be, but it's okay. Like we're all in it together. And, I always say we spend more time with our work family sometimes than our own family, so we better like each other. And we better work together, we better help each other. And that's definitely one of our core values. So I would say, and definitely advocating for more women to get into the business any way we can, so.
Thank you, Christy. We always talk about work-life balance, but this is a different perspective where your work and life are almost binding together. You have your work family, and you have your family together. That's a nice perspective. Thank you. Moving to MPP Kanjan, as a prominent female figure in leadership and politics, how do you champion the empowerment of other women to redefine traditional notions of success or achievements?
So I'm very fortunate in the platform I have, and I certainly don't take being an elected official for granted. And you know, when you get elected, you represent everybody. But I think, you know, and Mayor Dolan, you know, said it well. Like, you know, in politics, there wasn't many women for a while, and now you see a lot, and you have more of that women helping women. And, you know, I'm lucky that I get to work with Mayor Dolan, and, you know, she's helped me a lot in this career path I've chosen for the next little bit until everyone's tired of me. But I'd say, I think for me, like the biggest leadership quality you could have, instead of putting yourself out all the time, it's actually bringing people with you. And I try to do that more because I want to see others like me in my role, and you know, whether you know, in all shapes and sizes and ethnicities, right? So I think that's the best thing I can do, using the platform that I've been blessed and given, the who knows how much time I will be in it, to be able to amplify other voices as well. And I think that's where makes a government and the province much stronger, right? Because you may not realize there's some gaps in policy. I most recently met with a woman, and you know, we talked about mental health and how important that was, but there was, you know, a gap she identified in terms of postpartum. You know, and our government goal is we want to get more women in the workforce. We want to figure out what are those things that are like a roadblock to getting there. You know, that's a factor that we haven't heard about before. And so, you know, things like, you know, if women want to get into the trades, you know, having a women's washroom, not only for safety, but just have that good work environment. So all these little things they do add up to make a better workplace, and to be able to use your platform for good and raise others with you.
Thank you, MPP Kanjan. Mayor Dolan, having held several leadership roles, you have actively contributed to various organizations. Your involvement in the various council committees is commendable. How are you supporting and encouraging other women to reshape the conventional ideas of success?
I think I probably talked about that a bit earlier. So through AMO's Youth Fellowship Program, I was able to mentor two lovely young ladies. And it was a little difficult because it was during COVID, but that also made it easier because they lived so far away. But it was great to be able to help them during their time. But also, I have a daughter who, and a son, but who I've always had that mum guilt. And I think I heard it from so many people at this panel. And parenting singly for about the last 18 years, and when I first joined council, my youngest was about the same age as Minister Kanjan's son. So they spent their whole life with me missing birthday parties, missing graduations, missing, you know, when they go from sparks to brownies, missing story time at night, like all those important milestones in their lives, and just being there to help with their homework and ask them how their day was. So, you know, that comes with a huge amount of guilt. And I can tell you, MPP Kanjan, that they are now 35 and 32, and there is absolutely nothing but admiration and pride, no resentment. And they both, I believe, have gained their work ethic from watching their mom.
Thanks for touching that point of mom guilt. Probably I will say it for behalf of all other moms. We all do share that mom guilt with you. Okay. Colonel Nishika, before wrapping up, I would like to ask you, what advice would you give to all the young women who are aspiring here to redefine their success in their own terms?
I'm going to echo what Ms. Varma said earlier today and said probably way more eloquently than I can, and that is to cultivate resilience. I think resilience is the key, well, it was for me, is a key characteristic that you need to have. Life will throw you all kinds of nasty things. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And you know, if you have a tribe, that's great, cultivate a tribe for sure. Women, being friends with women, having women friends is one of the best things in my life. But having that personal resilience to never allow it to get to you as best you can. I mean, there are some things where you have to say, yes, this is too tough to handle, and I need help. And please, you know, seek that help. But where you can, to stay strong in the face of whatever life throws at you, because there's all kinds out there of things that will get thrown at you. And so I say cultivate resilience is the advice I would give.
Thank you, Colonel Nishikar. That was great. Cultivate resilience. Thank you for that. Christy Fines, I would like to ask you the same thing. What advice would you give to younger women who are aspiring to redefine success?
So I was really, really lucky last week to be away at an automotive conference and meetings, and our keynote speaker was Andrea King, so the wife of Martin Luther King Jr. III. And the question we asked her was, what advice would you give to girl moms to teach our daughters as they grow up? And this I have thought about every day since that moment when she spoke, was to be the queen that fixes other queens' crowns. And if we can teach that to our girls, I think we're winning. So that would be my my definition right now.
Moving over to MPP Kanjan, what would be your advice to the young women here?
I'm still trying to figure out myself, but probably can learn a few things from the panelists here. But I think what I've had to overcome, and I mean, I also look younger than I am sometimes, is that you're never too young to make a difference. And someone framed it really well to me. You know, they said, look, if you could be 18 years old and you can enlist to fight for your country in World War I and World War II, you know, damn, you can run for office. And so, I mean, you know, whether you're a boy or a girl, I think it's, you know, you're never too young to make a difference is an obstacle that I've had to overcome. And something I try to pass on through others with me, and try to give others that are around me, and then I have a very large tribe now to support me in what I do, to lift others up, to, you know, to give them the platform and voice.
Never too young to make a difference is our message from MPP Kanjan. Dr. Cousins, do you have a message for the young girls out there who are aspiring to redefine success?
I do. I say that for young girls, they should never apologize for who they are, and they should find space within whatever environment they're in, whether it's in the community, whether it's in the school, whether it's in church, wherever it is, find space to speak their mind, shout out loud, because some days you hold it in and you just want to scream and you just hold it in. You know, and it goes to what that resilience you're talking about. Sometimes you want to scream, but don't hold it in. Speak, because if you don't speak, your voice isn't heard, nobody knows, nobody hears, and you want your voice heard. So for me, it's about taking up space within whatever places you are, whether it's the boardroom table, the CEO table, you know, the table in the kindergarten room, it doesn't matter where it is, that's what I would say. Make sure you're heard and seen, speak up.
Speak up is the message from Dr. Cousins. Deputy Chief Sutton, what is your message for the young girls out here?
So I grew up on a farm. My parents are farmer. We're like 6th-generation farmers. So when I have brothers and I have a sister, so my sister and I are expected to do the same jobs that my brothers all did on the farm, whether it was, you know, milking cows or being in the field. But then when we were done that, my sister and I, my blessed mother, taught us to sew and to knit and to cook and to bake and all that stuff. So we did twice as much as our brothers did, right? And my parents never, ever treated us differently. So I always had that I was never told I couldn't do something, right? And I always had that support from home. And as I get into policing, and when I said it, I want to be a police officer, there's no police officers in my family. And I was never told, well, you can't do that. They encouraged me to follow my career and what I wanted to do. So my message is to young women is that have that support, believe in yourself, and if you commit to something, you can make it happen. You just have to believe in yourself and just carry on, and don't let the naysayers take you down or anything like that. Resiliency is what has allowed me to survive 35 years in this career type thing. But never doubt yourself and know your own worth. And just ignore the naysayers.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Sutton. Mayor Dolan, what is your message for all these young girls?
Similar, I would say believe in yourself. Anything you want to do, anything you want to do, if you're willing to work for it, you can do it. Stay off social media. Don't believe everything you see on social media. Don't let anybody undermine your self-worth. And don't fall for the, what did Dr. or Ms. Varma called it? No, if you imposter syndrome. Don't fall for the imposter syndrome. If I'm in a room of mayors or people and they want to know who the mayor is, they try to find the big, tall guy with the gray hair. He must be the mayor. So you have to make sure that you don't get that imposter syndrome going. A good example for me is MPP Kanjan and also the MP always say to me, why aren't you wearing your chain of office? Why aren't you wearing your bling? Because I don't think I should be wearing it. I wear it at council chambers when I'm supposed to, but I know the mayors before me, they wore it to all the events that they went to. So I'm putting it on.
Thank you, everyone. That was really nice, and that was very inspiring and empowering message for all of us. Excuse me. Here, I would like to take a pause again, and anyone from the audience, any of our She-Roes, would you like to tell us more on how you are redefining your success? Anybody? Please volunteer. Can we have the mic, please?
I started out going to say that I'm a survivor, not a victim. But when I heard the word resilience, I said, that's who I am. Oh, I had a terrible accident. I was shot. Somebody shot me. And I could have, well, I did. I'm not saying this happened overnight. But my attitude now is I'm a survivor, not a victim. And I've changed my life. And to be honest, Innisfil has helped me. And everybody in Innisfil. And I'm out now. I made lifelong friends. I don't know why I'm going to cry. But I stayed at one time almost 6 years and didn't go out of my house. And I'm a different person now. And I love this town, and I'm a survivor, not a victim. And nobody can take me down.
And I owe you a dinner. Anybody else? Yes, and you have, sorry about that, you have won a hamper from PharmaSafe. Congratulations. Anyone else in the audience? We just heard Dr. Cousins saying, speak up.
Hi, I'm going to speak for the second time. To personally invite all the women here, part of my growth and my journey is I've always dreamt about getting more connected with people, and so I am hosting my first community event in conjunction with Usual Martial Arts in Stroud, and it's an adult women-only self-defense class taught by. She's a martial arts expert, and I want to just personally invite everybody. It's on Eventbrite as well. So that's just me stepping out of my comfort zone and extending it all to you. It's completely free, and I hope to empower other women, not like get out there, be strong, be fearless.
Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to share? Wow.
Thank you. I just wanted to say to the panel, the importance of your panel discussion today, because for young women or women of my age that have reached my age, we all come from different backgrounds, different experiences, challenges, and setbacks. And sometimes we don't have that support in family. But the support comes from community, from hearing women like yourself, because young women and others in the audience and community today, they look at you and they think, these are successful women. If they can share that they've had challenges and setbacks and they've gotten through it, then I can do it as well. And I've personally gone through many setbacks in my personal life, and I chose, I can let it swallow me up, or I can choose to move forward and get through this and use this experience in my life to make a difference for others.
Thank you.
I'm just sitting here and filtering through everything I've heard and thinking, what am I going to bring with me home today to pass on to my 2 daughters and a son? And it's incredible that we need more community events like this because it brings everyone together. And I just wanted to say that it's phenomenal to hear to the stories, to hear to the wisdom, to listen to the advice. And I think that based on my personal experience, life in Ontario has changed so much in the past 31 years for the best, for the very best. And having women support each other in so many ways and fixing other queens' crowns, that's what counts.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say as well, like this event means so much to me, especially someone who's aspiring to enter in the political sphere, and I'm just inspired by everybody who just keeps pushing because, as Andrea knows, politics is not for the weak, and it just goes to show that there's so many amazing mentors and women in this community. It doesn't have to be catty, and it doesn't have to be exclusive, that we can all be accepting and kind towards each other and also push towards our goals. And I've met so many people during the break who have been amazing, and it really does mean a lot to me, especially because I look up to a lot of people on the panel, like Mayor Lynn Dolan and Dr. Claudine Cousins, and obviously Andrea. I'm going to name drop Andrea all the time, just in case you know who I work for. That was a joke. Okay. Yes, vote for her for the next election, please. But it just means a lot because it's been a lot in my personal life, and I was thinking about leaving politics, but just this event kind of, I guess, reinforced, I guess, my purpose to stay. So thank you.
it's weird, probably a man taking the microphone right now, but I do want to share a lesson that I have learned working for Christy in the past year, and it's just the importance of waking up every day and being positive no matter what life throws at you. Sometimes I get up and go to work, sometimes even overwhelmed by school, and I just see Christy like battling every single thing that gets thrown at her, and I've never seen her not put a smile on her face for everyone she comes across with during her day. So that's one key takeaway that I've gotten from Christy over the past year, and never underestimate the power of positivity in everything you do. So thank you, Christy.
Anybody else? Awesome. This is great.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for those very inspiring messages from all the panels. I was a little bit late coming in. I have to work, but hearing the last hour of the discussions by everybody and all the wonderful encouragements and the messages coming from all of you really sort of validates and solidifies that, like you've mentioned, really for you to keep going, you really have to be resilient. So I came to Canada way back in 2001 as an international student. And I'm the only one in here. I don't have any relatives. I only have a couple of friends that I came with to study. And I have my fair share of all those challenges and hardships that I had to go through. But looking back from 2001 and 20-some years later, I really, I couldn't have imagined myself being in this position. But I think from the start, I find that, not just me personally being resilient from the beginning, but also because I also have a very selected couple of friends that were there that sort of, I go with them the same level of challenges that we went through when we were starting. So I think it really makes a huge difference to have selected number. And then, like I said, you have to really select the people that you sort of associate with and make sure that those people are really the ones that is going to help you get through the challenges that you're going to go through, but at the same time, be there for each other as well.
Okay, I think almost everyone spoke.
Okay, thank you. Today's discussion was all about flipping the success script. Our panelists today delved into the realms of success, advocating moving away from conventional approaches, and have endorsed personalized success stories that prioritize their values and emphasize their own personal touch. We zoomed in on well-being, purpose, and making waves in the society as the heart and soul of success. We shed light on how our success stories are getting makeover across all areas, nudging everyone to rethink what success truly means to you, and on how we can add more sparkle and more purpose to our everyday lives. Thank you. Let's hear it for these fierce She-Roes of 2024.
Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in today's event. It's awesome to see how much everyone got out of it. And so honored to be a part of this, Loki and Sue. This is the first event of many, I can tell, so please come to the next ones. So thank you for participating in the She-Roes Gala 2024 celebration of International Women's Day, brought to you by Innisfil Indian Association in partnership with the town of Innisfil, powered by 400 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. So women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives their strength. Thank you so much also to our gold sponsor, Shivam Gulati. If you want to take a look at the back, he has business cards and other goodies. And thank you to Nukad Kitchen for sponsoring the food and for all of the sponsors for the door prizes. If you didn't receive your prize, please come find me or Sue or Loki and we'll make sure that you can take that home. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
I'd like to interrupt and just say a huge kudos to Sue and Loki, but mostly Sue. Fantastic job.
Perfect. So we're going to call up MPP Andrea Kanjan, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks. So each panelist is going to receive a beautiful plaque. Next up, we have Colonel Nikisha Jardin. Sorry, I said the name wrong. Mayor Lynn Dolan. Deputy Chief of Police Cheryl Sutton. CEO of Empower Simcoe, Dr. Claudine Cousins. and last but not least, Christy Fines, GM at 400 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Limited.